Hello, I'm Blue. Welcome. Because I'm kind of bored today, I want to try and talk about something I'm kind of passionate about recently, which are fountain pens. Uh, I never really got into fountain pens before because I live in Indonesia. Almost no one that I know use fountain pens. None of my friends use them, none of my teachers use them, none of my acquaintances use them. It's not in regular use in the schools. So I've never seen anyone use them before. I didn't know the difference between fountain pens and dip pens before. I only got into them a little over a year ago, and it's specifically because of this Instagram artist. Her handle is at Salmonella Fish. She's amazing. You should check her out. But she used fountain pens for her inking, and she got me interested in them. So I started looking up some information on fountain pens, and people said that if you wanted to try fountain pens as a beginner, they usually recommended the Pilot Petite one or the Platinum Preppy. The Platinum Preppy is a little hard to find where I live, so the first pen that I ordered is a Petite one. But because of some mix-up in the shop, what I got sent was a Pilot Plumex instead, which was really lucky because this is actually like 3 times the price of a Pilot Petite where I live. But it was also an interesting first experience because I didn't even know that there were italic nibs, which turned out to be a game changer in my opinion, because italic nibs, just like stop nibs, give you slight line variation, which worked out very well for me because the thing that I use this pen the most nowadays is to make line art for my drawings. So I got really lucky with this. This is one of the smoothest pens that I own somehow. It is a little sharp on the cross strokes though, but it's very smooth on the downstrokes and overall very nice. I don't usually keep it in this body. I usually swap it out with the Kakuno because the Kakuno is a more comfortable body. It's more ergonomic. The Pilot Plumex is a little short. It's got this weird cap that looks like a squid. People call this a squid pen, by the way. And it's got this triangular grip that's like the Lamy Safari, which I don't like. This pen is also part of the reason why I will never get a Lamy Safari, just because I don't like that grip. But yeah, first pen. Kinda great introduction to the world of fountain pens. After I had that, I decided to still order a Petite one. So I ordered it. This didn't come in this body. It came in the red one. This body, this transparent one, is a Petite one. It's a Petite 3. But it's transparent, and if you can't tell, I have this entire clear aesthetic going on, except for this. They don't have a clear Pilot Plumex, I checked. But yeah, I switched this with the Petite 3 to get this completely transparent pen. The Petite 3 is a little shorter than the Petite 1 body, but it works, it's fine, it fits. So yeah, I swapped them out. This has a Pilot Fine nib. This is apparently the same nib as the one in the Varsity. I've never used the Varsity, but same nib. It says Fine, but I've had people say that this doesn't write like a Pilot, like a Japanese Fine, so I don't know what it is. It's a little too broad for my handwriting, so I don't use this to write very much, but it's great for filling in large areas. So that's the Petite one. The next pen that I got is the Kakuno. Well, it's either the Kakuno or this. I can't remember. I ordered them at the same time, but when they arrived, I was coming down with a fever, so my memory of it is a little hazy. But I think the Kakuno arrived first. So, smiley face, very ergonomic body, and everyone knows this, but smiley face on the nib. Like, look at that. That's so cute. I've heard people say they don't like the extra fine nib on the Kakuno so much because it's a little feedbacky, but those are people that are usually more accustomed to the Western nibs. I don't mind the extra fine, this feedbacky feeling, because I used to write with mechanical pencils a lot of the time, so I'm used to feedback. I enjoy feedback, and because I use this to draw, I especially want that feedback. As you can see, it has a triangular grip as well, but it's more subtle than the Plumenix. It's more comfortable, and it's great. I was considering getting the Con 70 for this, but I think the Con 70 is way overpriced, so I've just been refilling the cartridge. The next pen is the HYL fake Moonman M2. This is the second cheapest pen that I have, so by order of price it's a petite one, and then this, and then the Plumenix, and then the Kakuno, and then this. So this is the second cheapest pen that I have, which I got because I was very interested in the Moonman M2, but it's a little expensive at the time for my budget, and I seen reviews where they said that the writing experience of this is the same as the Moonman M2. So I thought, I'm gonna buy one, see how it writes, see if I like it, and if I like it, I'm going to consider getting the actual Moonman M2. And it's got the same nib. Well, it used to have the same nib. I don't know if they have the same nib still. I think they just changed the stamping, but it used to say Iridium Point EF like that, and then now Moonman has their own stamping. But same nib, same feed, same assembly, same writing experience. I enjoy it a lot. The difference with the Moonman is the build quality. This doesn't have the acrylic at the end here, which gives it a little more ink capacity, but not as strong. Like you can see, I've cracked the cap. I've dropped this and cracked the cap, but the nib doesn't dry out. It still writes great every single time. The ink capacity is part of the reason why I bought it. I use this pen exclusively for writing, and I can write for at least a month without the ink running out. And you know, this is an eyedropper pen. I've had people say that eyedropper pens burp sometimes. I haven't had that problem with this pen. I love it very much. The nib is an extra fine, but I think it's either not as fine as the Kakuno, or the feed is somehow wetter, because they use the same ink. I put the same ink in both of them, but this writes slightly broader and less feedbacky. And then the last pen, the most recent pen that I have, is this. This is the Moonman 1 Chai Mini. When I got it in the box, I still have the box, by the way. It came in a really nice box with an eyedropper. It's supposed to have cartridges in there, but mine didn't come with the cartridges, and I have a spare feed, and I've broken the stub nib. I think it's out of alignment, and I have a spare nib in there somewhere, but it's hiding. But yeah, it came in a nice box. It said Mahjong on the box, which is another name for Moonman. And then I've heard people pronounce the name of this pen as Wenkai, which is absolutely wrong because it's not English. But also, I think in a JetPens video they pronounce it as Wansai, but I can't really imitate that sound, so I'm gonna stick with Wan Chai. As you can see, the nib has the Moonman stamping. This is the only pen that I have that's inked with a different ink compared to all of these. And I got this pen just because it's cute. Look at it, look at the size. It's the same length as my middle finger. Great capacity for a pocket pen. Holds like 2 milliliters of ink. I got this almost a month ago and I still haven't run out of ink, so it's great. So those are my pens. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the inks that I use. So these are my inks. These are Pilot cartridges. I don't really use them anymore. This is a Petite cartridge. It's the only cartridge that will fit inside a Pilot Petite because they're smaller, right? It's like how the Kaweco can only fit a short standard international cartridge. The same for the Petite. It can only use this short cartridge. I don't like the ink in the Petite cartridges. I don't know what it is about them. They're darker than the standard Pilot Namiki cartridges that you get when you buy the Kakuno, but it feathers so much. I don't understand how it feathers that much, but I don't like it. This is a Namiki cartridge. I kind of like it. It's a little bit of an off black. If I use it in the Plumonix, it kind of shades a little bit. The only reason I don't use it anymore is because it's not waterproof, and I like to use watercolor, so I need waterproof inks. But I keep a couple of spares lying around just in case my cartridge breaks and I need something else to replace it. So yeah, this ink, this is Become Fish Matcha. This is fairly new. You can buy it much cheaper at Taobao, but they don't ship internationally, right? They only ship within China, so I need to find someone to ship this ink from China to Indonesia, but I heard that not a lot of people would ship liquids, so I don't know. I think that J.R. Bond's Vert Empire is very similar, so I might consider that in the future, but I don't know. But I love this ink. It's shading. There are versions with gold sheen, but I don't like shimmer, but I don't like shimmering inks, so I'm gonna stick with this. But it's a bit dry and it's not waterproof, which is why I don't use this in a majority of my pens. And then my favorite is a Lexington Gray. I got this also on Salmonella Fish's recommendation. It's her favorite ink. It's waterproof, it's UV light proof, so it's light fast, and it dries quickly. It's also, because it's gray, it looks like graphite, it looks like pencil, which is subtle. And it dries, I think, much faster than other Noodler's bulletproof inks. I've seen a video of Teo Yi Chi using Noodler's bulletproof black for a watercolor sketch, and he let the ink dry for 30 minutes, and when he started painting over it, the ink still move, and I don't want that. But this dries really quickly. This doesn't do that. It's great. And it's a really nice color, like seriously. And this bottle is gonna last me a lifetime. So now I want to give you a writing sample. So the writing sample. I don't think the shading of these inks show up very well on camera, but here we go anyway. This is the Pilot Pluminix in Italic Fine with Noodler's Lexington Gray. The Pilot Pluminix, by the way, and the Pilot Plumix are like two of Pilot's pens that come exclusively with italic nibs. Some Metropolitans come with italic nibs, I think, and the Prera also comes with italic nibs, but the Plumix and the Pluminix come exclusively in italics. And it shows the shading of that ink really well. Again, it doesn't show up too clearly on camera. The next up is the Petite one. This is the Pilot Petite one. It says that it's fine. I'm not very inclined to believe that. It might be a Western fine, I don't know. None of my pens are Western pens, so I wouldn't know. There's a Pilot Petite one. Next up is the Pilot Kakuno. So this is the Pilot Kakuno, and you gotta write it with a smiley face. You can't avoid it. So cute. And the Extra Fine, also with Noodler's Lexington Gray. On the right paper, that can really look like pencil, which, by the way, I don't have any fancy papers. Like, I don't use Rhodia or Clairefontaine or Midori or the Kokuyo campus. I am considering getting some of them, but not yet. Even though this paper works fine with it, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't really feather that much. Noodler's Lexington Gray kind of feathers anyway on cheaper paper because it's quick drying, it's very absorbent. That's fine. This is the fake Moonman M2. Also in Extra Fine. Like, you can see there that it's broader than the Kakuno, but I'm not sure if that's the nib or the feed. But it is so smooth. For me, it doesn't have that much feedback. I can write with this for hours and I'd be fine. And then finally, the One-Time Mini. I gotta get used to screwing that on, by the way, because I keep missing. Here's the logo on the nib. I think it's a very pretty logo, by the way. So, the Moonman One-Chai Mini, also in Extra Fine with Become Fish Matcha. Again, doesn't show up very clearly, but the shading on that ink, the color of that ink is really nice. It's a lot lighter in person, is all I can tell you about that ink. So cute. But yes. And let's see if I can line this up without any of them rolling off. The Pluminix, the Petite, the Kakuno, the HYL, and the One-Time Mini. I'm not sure if I will ever get like any other pen. Like, I will replace this with an original Moonman M2, but other than that, I don't think I will expand my collection beyond this. unless there's like a really great drawing pen out there. But yeah, these are my fountain pens.